Hi everyone, so today we're going to talk about Jimmy Graham, one of the toughest Scotsmen that you've probably never heard of. Jimmy Graham was a man who could bend 6-inch nails and coins with one hand. So Jimmy was born in the town of Nidri near Edinburgh. His father lost a leg in World War I and died at the early age of 41 years old. So Jimmy, at the age of 6, took on the role of father figure to his two brothers and his sister. At the age of 10, Jimmy fronted the local gangster who was known for slashing people with a razor. The gangster hit Jimmy across the face with a steel comb. So at the age of 10, he was already very fearless and very brave. Now, Jimmy loved to fight, but he wasn't a troublemaker. He would love fighting the local gypsies on the gypsy camp because they gave him a decent fight. And Jimmy's brother said that he'd never seen him lose a fight, and he earned a good bit of money from it as well. So Jimmy started to get used as an enforcer for local gangsters and local villains. Didn't really sit right with him, and he didn't really enjoy it, so he got in too deep as well. So he decided to join the army, the Seaforth Highlanders, and he served in Malaya. Now, Jimmy's brother also served over there as well, and he said the very first day they got there, the sergeant major singled Jimmy's brother out and said, "Don't think your brother's going to save your ass over here." Jimmy's brother then told him that Jimmy was actually over there, and Jimmy was actually coming up behind the sergeant major. The sergeant major realised and apologised profusely and never gave them any trouble again, which goes to show the sort of power that Jimmy had, even in Malaya. There's also a story of when he served in Malaya that the combined service boxing champion was arranging a bare knuckle fight, and Jimmy dealt with him in under a minute, knocked him out of it under a minute. He was 6 foot and 18 stone, so very powerfully built as well. Another time, this is while serving in Malaya, Jimmy and his brother had gone off to get a cheeky little cigarette, and the military police had turned up in a jeep, gone up to try and arrest them because they'd snuck off to have the fag, and apparently Jimmy knocked them both out. The jeep got tipped into the river as well. So as you can see in the photographs of Jimmy, you can see his broken nose. His broken nose wasn't actually from fighting, as you'd expect. His broken nose came when he flew off of his motorbike after a few drinks and went straight through a car windscreen, and apparently smashed into the back windscreen as well. Newspapers had reported his death, that he'd passed away, when in fact he'd got up, regained his consciousness and gone down the pub to have a drink. So he was one of those proper old school hardmen. You don't really see a lot of them anymore. Another time, Jimmy actually fell off of a 60-foot roof, landed on his back on concrete, and they've said that it was only the bulk and the size of him that saved his life, and he only ever suffered a little bit of back trouble after that. Proper hard man. I've got to say a thank you to Dode Graham, who's Jimmy's nephew, and Dode's given me all the information about his uncle. Obviously he's very proud of his uncle, as he's such a legendary hard man in the local area. Sadly, Jimmy passed away of lung cancer. He was only given days to live, and he walked out of the hospital, pulled all the drips off and stuff, and he survived it. He lasted another 6 months, but then sadly succumbed to the cancer. And Dode also told me that whenever he'd go in a pub, when people found out that he was Jimmy's nephew, he'd get free drinks all night because of the reputation of Jimmy. Just goes to show the respect that he had. So that's the story of one of the hardest men that you've never heard of, Jimmy Graham from Nidri near Edinburgh. I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Please hit the thumbs up and please subscribe if you like the content.